Welcome to Is Your Way in Your Way podcast, where your host, Cassandra Crawley Mayo, helps you break free from obstacles and live life on your terms. Get ready to embark on a journey of self-discovery, empowerment, and inspiration. Tune in as we dive into captivating conversations with experts and explore topics that will ignite your passion and drive. Are you ready to unlock your full potential? Let's dive in.
Good day out there to all of my listeners, and I'd like to welcome you to Is Your Way in Your Way. And for some of you, or some of my new listeners, that's the title of my book. And that motivated me to have this podcast titled Is Your Way in Your Way. My name is Cassandra Crawley Mayo, and I am what I would call a transformational lifestyle mentor that empowers those women who are stuck, look good on the outside, but on the inside, you just don't have it, but you don't want anybody to know. You're burned out. You're doubting yourself. You have all these limiting beliefs, and it's just a lot. So what I do is once I empower these purpose-driven women, I empower you to start living your best life on your terms. And we talk about topics related to self-improvement. Also, this will enable you to do some self-reflection, to kind of look back over your life and see just some things that sounds familiar. And not only sounds familiar, but actually, you are probably in the shoes of my guest or been in my shoes. And so today I'd like to share with you what our topic is about. It's second act strategies. Wow. Why the best is yet to come. So let me ask you before I bring Anna on, have you ever had the gut feeling you couldn't explain, but when you followed it, everything just seemed to fall into place? What if that inner voice wasn't random, but your most powerful tool for living a life of clarity and courage? So today, we're going to be talking to Anna Quigley, an expert in the science and soul of intuition. She's going to show us how tuning into the inner guidance can help us navigate uncertainty, rewrite our stories, and step boldly into what's next. So get ready, because this episode is going to make you rethink how you make decisions and how you trust. And I tell you, something that Anna and I have in common is we both reinforce that living with clarity, confidence, and purpose is not only possible, but also it's never too late to begin. Let's welcome Anna Quigley. Hello, Anna. How are you today?
I'm fantastic. Thanks, Cassandra.
Yeah, wow. It's so good to have you on my show today.
Happy to be.
I would like to read a little bit of your bio, because many of my listeners always want to know what qualifies them to tell me this. So what qualifies them to talk about second act strategies and why the best is yet to come? So Anna is a teacher of intuition who blends 30 plus years of practice with neuroscience, quantum mind body techniques, and lived experience. She helps women, especially in midlife and beyond, trust their inner guidance, re-engineer their thinking, and step into clarity, confidence, and courage. With humor, relatable stories, and practical tools, she shows women how to recognize intuitive signals and manifest the life they dream of. Her message is simple, but yet it's very powerful. It's never too late to trust yourself and create what's next. Now, there are some people, let me ask you this. Have you ever heard follow your intuition?
Mm-hmm.
For example, just for my listeners, I was on, and I still am a block captain, for safety. And when we have meetings and trainings with police officers, and we're talking about certain things, they always say, follow your intuition. If something doesn't look right, go with it, right? So Anna, when you were growing up, was there anything that motivated you to do the work that you're currently doing?
Oh, I was a muck when I was a kid.
Oh, okay.
A good kid, but I had no confidence whatsoever.
Mm,
And I was so fearful of making a decision, because what if I was the wrong one? I couldn't trust what I was thinking and what I was feeling.
mhm,
And I had the misguided thought that, oh, okay, if I make this decision, then that's it. I am stuck on that path for the rest of my life. And
mhm,
what if it's the wrong one? So I was paralyzed. I truly was paralyzed,
mm,
for a long time, and just had no faith and no trust in myself. So
mhm,
that was a pretty big catalyst. And when I started really spiritual exploration and studying different philosophies and different religions, and I learned that that isn't true, that we
mhm,
have within us a
mhm,
guidance system, this innate intuition that we are all born with. We all have it.
mhm.
Uh, some don't have it more than others, some use it more than others. And I started to explore that. And I thought, okay, I don't know. I was a little bit of a skeptic back in those days, no more. But I doubt, let's test this. I want to make sure, because I'm a little bit of a science nerd too. So I wanted to
Mhm.
is this just woo woo or is this real?
Yeah,
And I gave myself a little test. Can I share quickly what this was?
absolutely. Sure.
Um, I I love clothes and fashion. I thought, okay, I need this belt was in style, particular belt. I want that. So okay, let's see
Mhm,
how good this intuition thing is. And I just like, all right, I'm sure they were popular. Where do I go? I don't want to run all over town. Where do I go? Where can I find this? And that little inner voice
yeah.
pointed me to a shop about 20 minutes across town that I knew, and they had a ton of accessories. And I thought, if anybody has them, they're going to have them. So logically, it made sense too. But I thought, okay, I'm going to hit every boutique between here and there and just see. And I had a picture of exactly what I wanted. Here's the color I wanted. I mean, it was very specific, and nobody had it. And it finally got
Mhm.
to the store across town, and I thought, okay, here's the big test. They didn't have it. They didn't have
Oh,
it. And
okay.
I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna look again because, sometimes things are hidden. I'm gonna do a more thorough search.
Right.
It was they didn't have it. They didn't have it. So I
Uh-huh.
thought, all right, well, this was a test. You're an explorer and you wanted to see if
Yeah.
this was legitimate. And I started walking out the door, and as I got to the counter, the little voice again said, "Just ask."
Yeah. Okay.
What? Why? I know
Mhm,
what they're gonna say. They're gonna say, "If it's not on the floor, we don't have it," right? That's the
mhm,
typical response. And I
mhm,
took another step out the door, and the voice again,
mhm.
"Just ask. Just ask." I thought, "Okay, this is a test. Let's take the test to the full extent. I know
Right.
the answer already, I mean, there was not gonna be any convincing me." And I walked up to the counter, showed the person at the counter the picture, the color, everything I wanted. She goes, "Oh, yeah, that came in this morning. We just haven't had a chance to put it out yet."
Oh, wow.
And I was like, okay, there may be something to this
Yeah.
after all. I
Mhm.
was hooked. I was hooked. So I started working with my intuition. I started listening. I started practicing. Okay. When I wasn't sure about something, I let myself get quiet and ask my internal self,
Mhm.
okay,
Mhm.
what's going on here? Where should I go? What should I do? And it was a process. I started building confidence
Wow.
in my decisions because it wasn't just my decision. I had trust in that divine guidance, if you will, that inner
Okay.
knowing that, okay, you can help me find a
Right.
belt for heaven's sakes. But I
Wow.
also learned in the universe there's no big, there's no small. It's the same. You ask for a car, you ask for a pencil. It's the same. It doesn't matter. Doesn't
Right.
matter. It's the energy that we put into it. It's
Hmm.
the
Okay.
clarity that we put into the request. So, you know, as women, I don't know, most women, I think, and I certainly was when I grew up, you don't ask for things. I was literally trained. You don't ask for things. You're the
Okay.
child, we will give you, you don't ask.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And that was a big limitation that I had to get over because that's how guidance you ask. You just ask.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, God always says yes. It may not
Right.
be the exact answer you expected,
Sure.
but it's
Yeah.
always moving you forward. So
Yeah.
I've learned, just ask, be clear
Yeah.
about what you want, be specific. Oh my gosh, I have a mentor, a teacher at one point who share her story. She said, you wouldn't, well, and I'll use Amazon now. She says, you wouldn't just call up Amazon or type in, your Amazon app and say, "Yeah, just send me something you think I'd like."
Uh-huh.
You're specific. Yeah, I want this item and I want it in
Right.
this color and I want this size and I want this
Mhm.
detail. And no, that's
Mhm.
not good enough. As specific as we are when we're shopping on Amazon or wherever,
Be specific.
we need to be that specific when we're asking our guidance and our higher power for that.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And so often we just like, we kind of do come in, well, just bring me
Sure.
whatever you think I should have. It's like we get to
Mhm.
ask. It's okay.
Exactly. Isn't it
Yeah.
amazing, our childhood, how it plays a significant role as we grow up into adulthood, and it's like all of that stuff was ingrained in our subconscious, I
Y-
guess I can call it.
Yeah.
How what? Well, I can't ask. So Anna,
Isn't that
I'm
funny?
curious. When in your life or your journey did you feel an inkling that there was something more for you? Because you see, growing up, you doubted, and
Yeah.
you had some challenges, but somewhere you felt there was something more for you. When in your life or journey did you find that out?
It's been calling to me for years, for for years. But it started, well, it's really in college,
Uh
because
huh.
my world opened up. It wasn't just the
Okay.
family environment. I had new experiences. I took classes. I studied. I got to explore, learn more, and see possibilities that you know.
Mm-hmm.
We, and the family environment was great, and I'm grateful for those um, lessons, if you will,
Yeah.
because they've served me in this way in really recognizing that yes, I can ask for things. It's
Okay.
not only okay, it's what we need to be doing. It's our
Right.
life. We're driving the car,
Yeah.
really.
Right.
Um, the universe supplies the fuel and the map, but we're
Mm-hmm.
driving.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it came along kind of gradually. I remember, oh gosh, probably in my late 20s, just in tears one evening, just like this overwhelming feeling that there was something. What am I here to do? I know there's something.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
had been bubbling, and I
Yeah.
and I still
Mm-hmm.
get emotional thinking about that because it's so powerful. It's
Uh-huh.
undeniable, absolutely undeniable. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what it is, but I've been
Okay.
a seeker. But it has been subtly showing up and showing up and showing
Uh-huh.
up. It's been
Uh-huh.
living in the background of my needing to have a job and take care of the house and relationships and family thing, all of
Mhm.
life, all of the things
Mhm.
that we go through in life. It's
Right.
been subtly there and it's bubbled up. And then I start working on it and it bubbled up again. And
Mhm.
then life got busy and I got sidetracked. And a couple of years ago, it was like a major shift, leaving a job that I had really loved for a long time. But it
Uh-huh.
was it was definitely time. There were a lot of things happening that was
Okay.
helping me move, but kind
Okay.
of encouraging me to get out, including health. Started getting the stress,
Mhm.
feeling stuck and feeling like
Mhm.
burnout, literally burnout
Mhm.
with the job. And my doctor literally was writing me a prescription. You need to take a leave. I said, that's
Wow.
not gonna make a
Wow.
difference.
Yeah, it
But
came to that. It
it
came to your doctor saying, yeah, if
and
you don't
I still ignored her. And I said, I can't do that.
Uh-huh.
I can't. And it just kept building until it was finally, it was like, no, I had had a little health adventure a few years earlier.
Okay.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that again. I'm not doing that again. So I finally
Right.
stepped away and took some time. And it's like, what are you here for? And it's like, you know what you're here for. You've known for 30 years. What you
Wow.
really need to be focused on.
Ready to design your dream life? Join Cassandra Crawley Mayo's Create and Design Your Best Life workshop. Break free from self-doubt and obstacles and step into a life of purpose and fulfillment. Click the link in the description to register now. Don't wait. Spaces are limited. Start living your best life today.
So, but when I read your bio, it said that you were a teacher of intuition who blends 30 plus years of practice, mind body techniques, and lived experiences. So, for 30 years, are you still doing what you were doing, or you're doing it in a different capacity?
I'm doing it in a different capacity.
Okay.
Like you, I'm working as a transformational mentor and speaker, sharing the tools that I've used, and I have taught these along the way to various groups that I've been in and church organizations, and mentored people along the way on how to use these tools and how to transition, and but still, still always learning. But
Sure.
yeah, at this point, it's full time. I have made the commitment after the last, kind of burnout. It's like, oh, how, you know, and interestingly, about 4 years, 5 years before that, I had made the commitment. Okay, I'm gonna start working on this, finding purpose. How do people find their purpose? I love
Right.
bio. So I've always been, okay, how did you get successful? How did you do this? So I,
Mhm.
just devour biographies. And I started interviewing women on
Right.
how did you find your purpose? Well, intuition had something to do with every single one of them.
Well,
The
how did you go about when you said interview? How did you select those women? Are these women you knew had a purpose, or you were trying to find out did they have a purpose?
Well, women that I knew were successful.
Yes.
I started, of course, with a friend, and then the friend referred me to, oh, you've got to talk to this person, and
Okay.
they have a great story. And oh,
Okay.
yeah, this happened to me. So it was kind of like, oh, yeah, I want to share my story. And so it started
Mhm.
with one, and how did that happen for her?
Okay.
And so I was gathering these wonderful stories, and
Right.
then my career went into another gear, and I was single and taking care of a house and
Sure.
needing to make a living, and my job got bigger, and I got to travel, which is one of my passions, and
Uh-huh.
it kind of took over.
About
And
how many women did you interview? About.
only about a dozen again,
Okay.
because then we kind of went into, I had then my little health adventure kicked in, and
Uh-huh.
I had cancer, went totally clean and free now, but
Congratulations.
that took
Awesome.
about a year and a half, and then I went
Yeah.
into COVID. Then we
Mhm.
had COVID, so life. This is we're riding a wave of life,
That's
right?
right.
And
Absolutely.
life
Absolutely.
experiences. So
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, a
Mhm.
little detour on that, but it didn't go away.
Yeah, I call them life interruptions. Stuff does happen. Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
Anna, when you were interviewing people, what was the common thread that you found how they figured out what their purpose was?
It was listening to their intuition, finally listening to and following. It's not just hearing it. We have to take action
Mhm,
on the guidance that we're given
mhm.
into things. For one, it was as simple as, oh, there was something that she saw her hairdresser doing.
Mhm.
And she goes, oh, that's something just lit up, and
Yeah,
there's an energy shift.
yeah.
Something lit up in her. She goes, well, that's kind of interesting. I kind of like that's a sculpture class. And she had worked with anatomy, medical devices, so it
Right.
wasn't totally detached. But she goes, well, you want to come? I can see if the professor will let you in. And she went in, and she had a finished product the first session.
Mhm.
Nobody does that. And she just kept going. She just kept going, and she's like world class, well known sculptor now. And but she listened. She recognized that that energy burst. That
Right.
even when I was talking earlier about when this first started coming to me, I started welling up. The emotions started coming, and the
Sure.
energy started rising.
Wow.
That's part of it. Or making a choice to go one place, even though your intuition said don't.
Right.
Some had negative experiences. One man that I've talked to and worked with, he knew he'd been working on a volunteer project and everything was great, and there was a big party afterwards, but he was already home. He was tired. He was doing that, and he's like, I'm good. I'm complete.
Okay.
And they were, oh, come on, come on, oh, we really want you here. Oh, come on, and against what he knew. And he admits that fully. Goes, I knew I shouldn't go, but he got on his motorcycle, his Harley, and he ended up in a ditch for 8 hours.
Oh,
Never
wow.
got to the event. And he said, I knew better, but I didn't
Right,
listen.
but he did it anyway.
But he went anyway. And it's
Right.
especially when we're younger, I think it's easy to just, okay, well, no, I'm supposed to do this. Or particularly in a job, it's like, something doesn't feel right, but kind of go with it. And the results aren't necessarily what you would have been ideal.
Wow. Wow. So I want to understand, what were you doing prior to helping women trust their inner guidance? What were you doing prior to that?
I was a marketing manager.
Okay. All
I've
right.
been in sales and operations
Okay.
and marketing.
Okay. Okay.
Events and stuff. So
Right. And then there's a time that you said, this, first of all, it sounded like you were burning out, therefore stress that created some health issues.
yeah,
And so when you transitioned out of that to do what you are now called to do, what was that transition like?
it was bumpy. It was bumpy. It was not because I waited too long. I hadn't been listening. I again, and even with the doctor saying you need to at least take some time, you need to step away. I was like, no, I can't do it. I'm responsible. I have people,
Sure.
and I loved most of the job, but
Sure.
but the universe was bringing things up and turning things, and it was just like, come on, get out the
Okay.
door. The
Okay.
saying, it's like it whispers and then it yells and then it brings out the bat. Well, the bat came out because I wasn't paying attention, and I was burnout, and it just was showing in every part of my body. And it was like, why are you fighting this? So I finally listened, and it was emotional. It was difficult. I don't have any regrets. I know it was one of the best things I've ever done for myself because it was for my betterment. It was for myself. I stopped worrying about everybody else, which is very selfish seeming, but it's honest, it's authentic. And it was like, we do that as women, right? We put, by nature, we're caregivers. We put other people first, and we take care of your needs. Then if I have time, then I take care of me.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
it felt, it can feel a little awkward to say, well, wait, no. This is, I have to do this for me. And I did.
Okay. Right. So you found your purpose. So I'm hearing a couple things. Number one, you interviewed women in order to see how they found their purpose, right? And then from that, you heard some stories that resonated with you. Then when you transitioned, how did you know that what you were doing was your purpose? Tell us, explain emotionally what was going on when you knew, because my listeners, many of them are trying to figure out their purpose. Some of them think they found out their purpose, but I know purpose can change depending on life instances or activity or whatever. But what about it had you make that decision, say, okay, this is it? What was that behavior like? What was that emotion?
As I mentioned, this had been bubbling up in my life for a long time. When I was in my 30s, I even had the name for the book, On Purpose. On
Okay.
Purpose. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's going to be the book. And I've had ideas for this, but then again, making a living, doing the life wave and everything. So I spent time looking back. I knew after interviewing people that was something that I really wanted to continue with, but
Okay.
I took some time. I took a fair amount of time, and all right, let's look back. Self-assessment. There's threads, and I fully believe this, as far back as high school, at least. And my brother, back to when he was like 7 years old, he knew what he wanted to do, but he's, I think, the exception. And I started looking at what were the pieces that made me excited. Where was my joy? What did I do in high school and earlier than that? What did I love? Oh, I loved writing. I loved, helping people. I loved. I was curious. Why was I reading all these biographies? Because I love learning how other people. All these were little clues. These were little breadcrumbs. That were there, kind of like, okay, here's another little sign to look at and see. It's like kind of looking through the fog almost. You can still see the path, but it's not necessarily clear. So looking back, doing a self-assessment and literally reviewing my life, what were the key things that just made my energy rise, that made me just happy, just being part of it, even if it wasn't something that I made a living at or big success, but that just brought me joy. And write those down. If you're listening, if you're not, start writing those down. What were those things? And there's no small or large, just any little thing that you've done that made you happy. If it's living at the beach or being in the trees in nature, or spending time with friends, entertaining, cooking. That's probably how Martha Stewart got her start. I just like to cook. Yeah.
So, let me talk about the title of the podcast, Second Act Strategies. Why is it the best yet to come? Explain that.
We get to a point in life, and I have a client who's in her mid-30s and going through this. So it's not necessarily whatever we consider middle age, which I call it now. It's a middle age calling, not a middle age crisis. It's like, because the first half of our lives, we're kids. We're just learning how to be in the world. We're getting educated. We, do the relationships in a family quite often. And okay, what am I going to do for work? And we're learning how to be in the planet, on the planet, as part of it. And we're so busy with that, we're not paying attention to these little signs. Usually, oh, I love philosophy in, college. Oh yeah, your parents are like, okay, you're gonna make a career out of that. What are you gonna do? Or creatives a lot of time. Well, you can't never make a living as an artist, so you take a more practical route. So looking back, kind of through all of that, maybe the kids are out of the house. You've done the career, you've been successful, you've got relationships are good or they've ended. Oftentimes that's the transition point. And it's an opportunity to reassess and go, okay, which path am I taking now? Which path? And I get to create a new one. And it's not about starting over. It is not about starting over, but it's building on the success that you've had. It's building on what you've learned, the wisdom that we've gained, the hard lessons, biggest teachers that we have. I've learned how to, keep myself from getting sick again. And I've learned how much I can give and help other people before I start burning out. And I recognize those signs. So it's a self-assessment is a big first part of that. It's what are these things that have just these little breadcrumbs that have been there throughout your life. Start gathering them, making
Okay.
a note of them, thinking about them. Really give yourself time. Oh, how was that? Oh, I love doing that. Why did I love that? Oh, the piece may come together with another piece later. It's
Mhm.
kind of building a puzzle. And we have opportunities to start again. Usually again because we're not raising kids or families, and like you said, the career's successful, but maybe it's like, well, I've already done that. You're
Yeah.
feeling an inkling like, is this it? Is this it? I'm 40. I'm 50.
Right.
I'm not done. I have
Yeah.
all this time left. Now what?
Right. What else is there to life, right?
What else is there, And it's like everything is there.
Right.
Everything is there. There's so many people that I've researched, not interviewed yet, who've had didn't even start their major successes until they were 40s, 50s, 60s. I mean,
Right.
Julia Child was in her 60s, 50s when
Mhm.
she started, 60s
Mhm.
when the book came out. Um, Samuel Jackson, love him, great actor. He
Mhm.
didn't even get, I think, a decent role until he was 50 something.
Right.
And,
Mhm.
designers and, writers, just there's so many. John
Right.
Lennon, talks about that too, and how he
Yeah.
uses intuition for some of these things. But yeah, it's what's we're here for as long as we get.
Yeah.
And the first half isn't the only half. The first part isn't the only part. That's the foundation that we're building.
Right.
As
Oh, the
we're getting
growing part,
the
learning.
growing part, like
Yeah.
me learning that it's okay to ask. I didn't get that in the early part. I learned that as I started
Yeah.
approaching the second half. It's like, no, I get to choose for me,
Right. That's a
and
good.
it's not at the it's not at the expense of anybody else in my life that I love.
Mhm.
And the ones that really support you, are the ones, that are going to be there for you for the long haul.
Anna, you talked about the self-assessment tool.
Mhm.
What what other tools do you use to support your clients in determining what's next for them? What other tools?
Well, we work a lot on how to recognize intuition, how it
Mhm.
speaks to us.
Mhm.
Um, Science has documented this. This is absolutely proven scientifically that, well, uh, we get 11 million bits of information every second that we're picking up,
Mhm.
visual cues and auditory cues. But only 1% of it goes to our brain. The rest of it's picked up by our senses,
Mhm.
So it makes sense that one of the major keys to learning to recognize intuition, this guided
Yeah.
system that's helping us clarify, is
Mhm.
by the senses. And that, as you
Mhm.
mentioned, you just walk into a room and you go, oh, or you just
Mhm.
know that something's not right here. Or the
Right.
opposite, and I know everyone I've talked to has had this feeling where I don't know how I know, but I know, and I
Yeah.
know with an intensity that it is
Right.
unshakable.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so there it comes through auditory messages. People
Mhm.
when somebody I hear two or three people tell me about a book within a short period of time, I go buy that book or I go
Mhm.
watch the movie because I know there's something in there for me.
Right. Okay.
Visual cues, it's seeing repetitive signs for you don't know where to take vacation, here or here, and all of a sudden
Mhm.
all the signs are pointing to Hawaii.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
those
Yeah.
signs have been there, those billboards have been there, those ads have been
Right.
there, but
Right.
when you're in that decision making or that choice making mode, then you start noticing things.
Right.
And, recognizing those little quiet signs, that little quiet voice that said, just ask, just ask. It was
Mhm. Just ask, right?
counterintuitive. It was counter to my rational mind. My rational mind's like, yeah, they don't have it. This stuff's hooey. And it's
Mhm.
like, yeah, not so much, listening to that. So it's
Right.
practicing. And so I have them start tracking that. I mean,
Mhm.
something may happen today that we go, oh, yeah, that's right. I
Mhm.
turned left and I got there easier, or I got
Right.
stuck in traffic because I didn't listen.
Mm.
In 2 days, you've forgotten about that. So if you write it down, just jot it down, anything to trigger your memory, you start seeing a pattern. And the
So,
pattern builds, and you start
right.
really building trust in yourself.
Okay.
And
Okay. Is there a difference though between intuition, gut feeling, logic, instincts? Is all that the same?
logic's different.
Okay.
You've got the rational mind, which
Okay.
keeps us organized. It keeps us
Okay.
functioning. It keeps everything on track. Rational mind's
Mhm.
constantly, no, this is safe. It's trying to keep us safe. This is
Okay.
safe. But the rational mind is not where creativity comes from. It's not where
Mm.
insights come from. It's not where those aha moments come from. Rational mind's like,
Mhm.
no, don't. We don't know what's down that road. So
Mhm.
this one's safe. Stay in your job. I know, you're feeling burnout. You're not feeling good, but this is
Right.
safe. You got a paycheck. What are you going to do if you leave the job? What's going to happen? You want to have insurance. And those are valid questions,
Absolutely.
but they keep us stuck. And that
Okay.
leads to burnout. That
Uh-huh.
can lead to burnout. So
Okay.
it's, paying attention to those senses. And while you're getting burnout, you're exhausted, you're tired.
Mhm.
You go home, you
Mhm.
don't have energy to do anything, to
Mhm.
spend time with anybody.
Yeah.
It shows in your face, it shows your body.
Sure.
It takes every bit of energy because you're swimming upstream. You're when you're it's old expressions popping into my head. When you're living in the flow,
Mm.
when you're following your guidance,
Yes.
it's not supposed to be hard. Like,
Mm.
it's not
Okay.
supposed to be. Yes, there's challenges. Yes, there's
Okay.
difficulties. Yes, there's, experiences and things we learn through, we work through. But it's
Mhm.
not supposed to be dragging
Mhm.
a stone up a hill our whole life.
Yeah.
Um, when things are effortless, that's another thing. What comes easily, and oh my gosh, as women, I think we're particularly guilty at not recognizing, first of all, and not validating what comes easily to us, because we
Mhm.
all have innate gifts.
Sure.
We have the intuition, yes, that we're born with, but we all have innate skills and abilities, and in different combinations. And
Mhm.
we're like snowflakes. There's no two people that have that same exact combination. And as women, it's so often, oh, no, how many times you probably have had friends go, "Oh, Cassandra, that's so wonderful. How do you do that?" "Oh, I just do it. I don't know. I just
Right.
do it." Right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's
it's
right.
just, what do you mean that's, what do you think that's a big deal for? It's not a big deal. I just do it. And
Right.
and
Right.
those are huge clues. Those are huge
Mhm.
clues. What is
Mhm.
that? So I suggest that my clients ask their friends. They're really good friends, people that know them.
Mhm.
Ask your family, what do you think I love? That's important. That's usually for most fairly clear. I think our family kind of knows, but they don't always. And
Right.
the other one for me, when I did this, was huge. What do you think I'm good at? I mean, what do you think I'm really
Right.
good?
Mm.
And I was like, "Oh, thank you very much, but give me something I can use." I totally dismissed one that became a key to one of my businesses. It's like, "Oh yeah, fine. You're good at accessorizing and decorating and doing the house." And, yeah,
Mhm.
thank you.
Mhm.
That's really nice. Thank you. Now, what else? What can I use?
Right.
And I
Right.
ended up, creating an import business where that's what I was drawn to, accessories,
Okay.
fashion accessories. And
Okay.
I'm like, oh, this is how
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
fits. But
Yeah.
we tend not to recognize it as
Mm.
easily as value. It's that work
Mhm.
ethic. If you work hard, then it means something. But it's the opposite. We have it backwards. It's what comes easily to us is the gift that we have to share.
Mm. That reminds me of, there are many times I can recall saying, "Should I interview for this job?" And I remember, and then I asked my dad, and he says, "Well, if it's not meant for you, then you won't get it. So go ahead and interview." I'm like, "Oh, he's so diplomatic.
Good for dad.
Should I marry this guy? I mean, all of this stuff is important.
Yeah.
Or should I do this?" And I always used to say that helped me. God speaks first. and the devil speaks next. Because all of us say, well, I think I should do this or I think I should do that. And and I think, I'm a woman of faith. And I'm like, I think God wants me to, and it's just, you get so caught up in that,
Yeah.
thinking that, well, should I do this? What should I do that? So a lot of your information you provided um, are some tools to help you to support your clients to be kind of clear on what their intuition was. When I said, is your gut feeling intuition? Maybe so, but we know logic is not even in that.
Right.
Right. So you have what I call a call to action
Yeah.
on your site about tools to clarify forgotten dreams and or intuition.
Mhm.
Is that something you would recommend my listeners to do?
It's a great place to start, even
Okay.
if you're fairly aware of your intuition, if you're fairly comfortable with it. I
Yeah.
guarantee that it's talking more often and louder than you even know.
Okay.
And that's what I was saying. It's an opportunity to just start tracking and paying attention. And also, at the same time, think about what you love, what you've loved since you were a kid. Doesn't matter if it's, I loved riding my bike,
Right.
so what, you can still do that as an adult. You can do
Sure.
that at 90. Things that bring you joy in
Right.
your life, and a pattern can show up like, oh, you're good at accessories. Yeah, but
Mhm.
then when I was looking for items to import,
Mhm.
that's what I was drawn to, and it's like, oh, this makes it easier because here's something
Mhm.
I know, something I love, something I'm
Mhm.
passionate about,
Right.
and
That's
the pieces start coming together. They
sure.
start
That's
coming
awesome.
together. So
Wow.
yeah, find this again, the breadcrumbs are there, but
Right.
starting to really, really pay attention to when these little instances come, then you go, oh yeah, oh, it's talking all the time.
Wow.
It's
That's some good stuff. Anna, how will my listeners be able to get in touch with you?
uh, I do have, and hopefully you can share a link
Uh,
to the tracking sheet and some information on how all the different ways that our senses are speaking, are channeling, if you will, how our
what,
intuition comes through that. And
yeah, what's
you
the
can go
name
to
of the sheet? I
they
didn't hear.
can they can just go to intuitiongift.com,
Okay.
and they can just say, yeah, send it to me, and I will happily send that to them.
Okay.
Um, and there's other information on the website,
Okay.
Journey to Purpose, but you'll have that.
Okay. And that's your website. Um,
Mhm.
is it Anna at Journey to Purpose or just Journey to Purpose?
Well, the website is journeytopurpose.org.
Okay, great. Okay.
But if they just go to intuitiongift.com, that'll pop up on the website, so they'll be on the website. So that's probably the
Okay.
simplest way.
Okay.
And there are ways to reach out to me, and there's a contact page. So I'm happy to help
Right.
anyone in any way that I can. So
That's great.
it's been a wonderful tool for me. It has, like you with your dad, sounds like he was already living in
Yeah, he was
intuition.
wise. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I've had that same experience and gotten into
Mhm.
probably the 2 best jobs I've had, and once that I just like, why am I gonna go
Mhm.
interview? It's not what I want."
Right.
And it was more than I wanted, more than I expected, so
Well, I'm actually going to go in and take the
please.
intuitiongift.com. I can't wait. I'm going to do that one day this before the week is out.
Oh, I love it.
And yeah, and Anna,
Let me know how it helps you or if
I
it does,
will. I
and what you thought.
certainly will.
I love that.
And I know my listeners are going to do the same thing, which I think is a phenomenal tool. And we could talk more, but we can't.
We could talk more. And
I
there and
know.
just one thing I will say is that once you clarify, then that's where I get into the quantum mind body tools and
Okay.
learning how to reprogram, re-engineer your brain to bring that dream to life much
Uh-huh.
more quickly.
Okay.
So but clarifying the what you're here for is the first step.
Right. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
Anna, thank you so much. My listeners,
my pleasure.
I'm certain you've heard something that resonates with you all. And what I'd like for you to do is share this with your friends, family, or whomever you believe that it will touch them or resonate with them. Please do so. I am going to have all of Anna's information in the show notes so that you don't have to in the event you're driving and you didn't write intuitiongift.com and didn't have an opportunity to write her website address. I'm actually going to provide that for you. And again, Anna, thank you so much for your information. I've learned about my intuition, and I'm going to keep that in my mind as I move throughout my continued life.
Mhm.
And also something that I always say to my listeners, I always say bye for now, God bless, and you will continue to listen to my podcast. They're on all platforms. And it's titled, Is Your Way in Your Way? And I want to thank you again, Anna. Bye for now, and God bless you.
Bye for now.
Hey, thanks for listening. If you've been enjoying our empowering conversations, make sure you don't miss out on future episodes of Is Your Way in Your Way podcast. Stay in the loop with all the latest episodes. Join our mailing list over at CassandraCrawley.com. And before you go, hit that like button, share with your friends, and subscribe now. Until next time, let's get ready to live your best life.